Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you, the Mountaineer State has done it. What does it take to vaccinate more people per capita than any other state in the nation? Well, the answer is simple: common sense and prayer, according to West Virginia Governor Jim Justice. His state is leading the country in the COVID vaccine rollout. What else is the big factor in West Virginia's outstanding success? Well, our Wendy Griffith just decided she'd go home to West Virginia and talk to the governor.
West Virginia is often last when it comes to national trends, but not this time. The Mountain State is credited with leading the country when it comes to the COVID vaccine rollout, and no one could be happier than West Virginia Governor Jim Justice.
Well, it does make me feel good. I mean, there's no question about this.
Governor Justice says a big factor in their success, not going with a federal plan to send the vaccine to big pharmacies like CVS and Walgreens. Instead, they stayed local, partnering with mom-and-pop pharmacies.
We recruited our pharmacies, our local health clinics. We absolutely put our National Guard right to work and everything. We took this to the people because the people are used to going to certain places and everything. And with all that, we started putting shots in people's arms, and that's why we've led the way.
Pharmacist Heidi Romero says West Virginia was ready.
They developed a team of people to begin working on the distribution process before the vaccines were even approved. And they enlisted every willing pharmacy, and it's just been a very cooperative effort between the state level, the pharmacies, the health departments. Everybody has put forth their best effort to make sure that the vaccines have rolled out as quickly as possible.
Now, you are a third-generation pharmacist in Canova, West Virginia. You work alongside your father. How does it feel to be the heroes right now in this pandemic?
It's honestly very humbling to be part of this process. We're just glad to be able to help in any way that we can. And the connection that we all have to our communities, it's made a big difference with feeling like you're finally able to do something to help the people that you know and care about.
In a different ranking, you may recall, West Virginia became the very last state to report a positive COVID case last March. Now it's hailed as a model when it comes to getting residents vaccinated, next to only North Dakota. The two states in a virtual tie, with both administering 81% of available vaccines. Governor Justice says it's not rocket science.
It's just simply good, sound thinking, and then having the guts to move and to get it done.
Something else may have helped pave the way for their success. They prayed. The governor proclaimed March 25th of last year a statewide day of prayer.
But Father, I pray for all of us in our great state, that you will intervene now and hear our words, as I know you will, and some way, somehow intervene to stop this terrible virus.
The governor says although they've seen their share of tragedy and loss of life, he knows God has been with them through it all. Wendy Griffith, CBN News.
Oh, that's great. West Virginia, I tell you, that Jim Justice is something. He had a whole bunch of coal mines. He sold them for $1 billion. Then they weren't working the way they should. He bought them back for like $250 million. And, oh, he's a genius. He's a coach. He's a former coach. Wonderful man.
He sounds like somebody who's ready to make a plan.
Well, yeah, he came into, I can't tell you some of the stuff that he did when he got into the legislature. He said, this is garbage what you're doing. But he is so smart. He's a former coach. They call him coach, but he's a great guy. Well, there's increasing good news in the battle against COVID-19. So why are some health officials more scared than ever? John Jessup has that story.
Thanks, Pat. The latest statistics show new cases and hospitalizations dropping dramatically, and fatalities are also leveling off. The number of new infections has decreased by 30% over the past 14 days, with hospitalizations down 23%. While deaths have stopped climbing, about 3,000 people a day are perishing from COVID. Still, some officials are expressing concern about the increasing number of more contagious variants cropping up.
I'm not an alarmist, but this is as scared as I have been since the beginning of the pandemic.
With Super Bowl Sunday approaching, health officials are warning people to avoid large parties for the big game. Well, the city of Chicago, the nation's third largest school district, is extending remote learning for tens of thousands of public school students. This as school officials failed to reach an agreement with the teachers union over COVID-19 safety protocols. The two sides are negotiating a plan to gradually bring back pre-K through 8th grade students in the classroom. The teachers union says the plan does not do enough to protect teachers. Well, experts agree academic and social development are very likely slipping for many students as schools remain closed. Parents are growing more concerned as the pandemic rolls on, and as CBN senior Washington correspondent Tara Merchner explains, more are speaking out.
Isolation, screen time, lack of physical activity. Research shows children out of school are struggling, and parents want change.
The garbage workers who pick up my freaking trash risk their lives every day, more than anyone in this school system.
It's the school board meeting rant heard round the country.
There are people like me and a line of other people out there who will gladly take your seat and figure it out.
Brandon Michon is part of a growing chorus.
Part of going to school is learning how to interact.
I saw depression. I saw them lose interest in life.
Insisting school closures take a terrible toll on children.
I think the most and really the biggest issue here is the mental health side. You know, she's bubbly and fun, but she's, you know, she kind of shuts down on the computer. I'm like, yeah, she's 5. She's in kindergarten. You know, my 8-year-old feels defeated.
Experts say concerns are valid as disruptions to daily life, school by screen.
He can't get the lesson. He doesn't get the help he needs.
And isolation from friends can be a recipe for anxiety and depression.
How to just function kind of in connection to other people. That part is what's been missing, I guess, from kids being home. I mean, none of us love it.
Studies show mental health issues were on the rise before the pandemic, which only accelerated the trend.
We've certainly been seeing an increase in referrals for therapy just across the board.
Faced with distractions at home,
they don't pay attention.
And lack of in-person attention, researchers say, causes students to fall behind academically.
They get better grades when they're in school.
The news isn't all bad. Educators say some children have actually done better studying at home. The numbers also show drug and alcohol use among youth appears to be down, as are juvenile arrest and incarceration rates. Meanwhile, new CDC guidelines recommend children return to class.
There's little evidence that there's any meaningful spread of COVID-19 in the classrooms.
But there are no immediate plans to reopen doors in many states, and some teachers refusing to return even if they do.
I've got 39 kids in a class. It's just not going to happen.
As children remain in limbo, the advice to parents, stay positive.
We should say, you know, I know that this is hard for you. And then we should just listen and be as empathetic and supportive as we can be without overburdening them.
And a few more suggestions from the experts. Talk to children about what they're learning online. Help them organize the school day. Offer genuine feedback about the work they're doing and reassure them things will eventually go back to normal. In Washington, I'm Tara Mergener, CBN News.
And an update to that story after the outburst and the media attention that followed the Virginia School Board meeting. The district voted 8-1 to start phasing in hybrid learning after later again this month. House Republicans are standing by 2 members who have been embroiled in controversy for very different reasons. Wyoming Representative Liz Cheney, the number 3 House Republican, came under fire for her vote to impeach President Trump. Some wanted her removed from leadership, but the House GOP voted overwhelmingly to keep her in her post by a vote of 145 to 61.
We really did have a terrific vote tonight, a terrific time this evening, laying out what we're going to do going forward, as well as making clear that we're not going to be divided and that we're not going to be in a situation where people can pick off any member of leadership.
And Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is standing by freshman Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, known for supporting QAnon conspiracy theories in the past, as well as questioning some mass shootings, saying that they were staged and suggesting Nancy Pelosi could be executed for treason. Greene later apologized to the GOP conference Wednesday and has said she now disavows her earlier comments. Democrats appear poised to strip her of her committee assignments today during a full House vote. McCarthy, Pat, calls that a partisan power grab.
Well, you know, ladies and gentlemen, the truth is the Democrats cannot dictate to the Republicans who they're going to have on their caucus and who they're not, any more than the Republicans could do that to the Democrats. Think of some of the extremist statements that have been made by members of the Democratic membership of the House of Representatives. Just shocking. So we start picking off the other guys. You're entitled to so many members as you have in these committees, and you cannot tell the other party who they can put in their slots. They're allocated so many, and this kind of thing won't work. And so it's a good thing that the Republicans are standing fast. Now, this particular Congresswoman said, like, in the earlier days, I made some extreme statements which I do not believe in right now. So why hold her responsible for stuff that she said a few years ago and she doesn't believe it anymore?